Hi, Faith, here today to do your Celtic Cross reading. Sorry for my kind of silence about stuff. I've been crazy busy, as you mentioned in one of your emails. This is my busy time of the year. Um, it's doing church work is not easy this time of year. Excuse me. Getting ready for Easter and all that. But anywho, I'm here to do your Celtic Cross. You, in your email, requested a reading either about career or love, and I wasn't sure which one to pick. I didn't want to pick one myself, so I kind of just cut the deck before I shuffled to see which one it wanted to talk more about, and I got the Princess of Discs, so I assumed that meant that it wanted to do a career-based reading. So that's what I went with, and I hope that's okay. So as usual, I picked your significator out, the Queen of Discs, which is what I always use for you, and I've already shuffled to save a little time, and I thought we can start. I hope that the glare isn't too bad here. This is really the only place I have to do these readings here, but I realize the glare is not great, so I'll try to label each card as I go. Okay, so the overall situation is represented by the Emperor. Crossing you is Art or Temperance. Crowning you is the Knight of Discs, and beneath you is the Lovers. Oh, maybe this reading is not about career. Huh. In the past you have Lust, and in the future you have the Three of Discs. Oh boy. Well, this is confusing already, as far as whether it's about love or career, since you have symbols for both here. But anywho, how you see yourself in the situation is the Four of Discs. The Four of Swords. Environmentally, how other people see you is the Fool. And not meaning that people see you as a fool, no. Your hopes and fears are the Princess of Wands, and your overall outcome is represented by the Two of Discs. Okay, and underneath everything, on the bottom of your deck, is the Prince of Discs, which is interesting. Okay. So it's funny, because I do see, as I said, a couple of things that connect to career and a couple of things that do connect to relationships. So it's a little tricky here. I get the sense from the bottom of your deck that either there is someone in particular that you have met that you feel you have a really strong connection with, but for some reason you are having a difficult time putting something together with them, in either that being something like a relationship or but it's difficult to tell whether or not it's a romantic relationship or a working relationship. And I almost wonder if it is kind of both right now, because you have so much intersection here between your work life and your love life that I am wondering if this is someone that you work with, that you have some kind of strong connection with. And I don't know if this is someone that you have possibly had relations with in the past as well, or if they are someone that that you share a lot of passions with. It's a little unclear. But what I get from your overall situation card, the Emperor, I feel like you're in a place where I get the sense that you feel you are ready for some kind of relationship, because I think you feel like you've gotten control over over your situation quite well. I think you feel like you have established yourself as an independent, successful person. I mean, the Emperor um, would indicate to me that at the heart of this is um, dealing with independence in some way. Because I see, it's funny, at the epicenter of your reading is this Emperor, which is all about kind of individuality and self-assertion, authority over oneself. But then around it, you have all these other things going on and people going on. And I think, you see yourself as the Four of Swords. You see the situation, rather, might be a better way of describing it. You see the situation as the Four of Swords. And so I'm unclear as to whether you feel like you're sort of keeping the peace, or if you feel that the situation has sort of hit a wall. And I get the sense that it's more the latter. Perhaps with this particular person, your relationship has kind of stopped growing with them. Either they have stopped contributing, or, that's what I kind of get the sense of, that, in the past, there was a lot of chemistry with this person, and I think there still is, but it's become a little more intellectualized and less physical, if that makes sense. And I think you feel like things are just sort of like at a resting point, and that they aren't really going anywhere. What I do find interesting is that there is no water in this reading, and so either that confirms for me that this is a work relationship of some kind, excuse me, or that the feelings are not quite there. But it's odd, because they certainly have been. There's been a lot of enthusiasm in the past about this, and it does not seem to be. Well, I don't want to say that it is no longer, but I don't know that you're feeling it. Otherwise you wouldn't be seeing this situation as the Four of Swords, which is sort of an antithetical idea to something like lust. The Four of Swords is so... it's very chill. It's a very relaxed card, and lust is totally not like that. And so you've been moved out of this period of great excitement, and now things are a little less mobile in some way. And the other way of looking at this too is that, maybe it isn't just because it might not even be because of this other person. It could be because you yourself are perhaps focusing more on yourself, on your career, on your own success. And so maybe you're okay with just kind of letting this be on the back burner for now. And maybe that's why you're curious about this aspect of your life, because you kind of want to see, you're just curious about it, maybe. Let's see here. Well, the interesting thing too, I hadn't noticed before, you have an awful lot of like new energy in this reading too. I kind of get the sense that this is someone you have met sort of on a whim. Like you didn't expect this person to come into your life, or they came into your life in an unexpected way. It's awfully unclear. I want to say, yeah, I almost want to read it two different ways at the same time, because sometimes readings are like that, where you can interpret them for one situation, and the reading is also applicable for another situation, because both of those different events in our lives are reflections of the same issue or thing that we're working on or dealing with internally. And so if you'll forgive me, I'm going to try to read this as as kind of generally as possible, first, and then possibly go back and try to fill in some details here. But maybe it's best for me to just go through each card and tell you what I'm getting from each one, and then try to wrap it all up for us here, because I feel like I've gone off in too many different directions for you here. Again, your overall situation is represented by the Emperor, which tells me that you are in a mode of self-independence, of self-authority, of keeping things in balance, keeping things under control, in a fairly gentle way. Crossing you is art, which indicates to me that something is not balanced here. Something is not either something is not equal, the exchange is not equal, or there is a stopping of growth or fluidity between two parties, basically. Excuse me. Now on the bottom, rooting you is the Lovers, and again, the Lovers tells me that the basis of this situation is that there is some person or something that you are having a very strong connection with, and that is allowing you to explore yourself more. That's what the Lovers really is all about. It's about understanding oneself through interacting with others, and in this case it's a particularly strong connection, and I do think that it's one that has a lot of zest, a lot of zeal for life, because in your past, waning is lust, which is of course all about joie de vivre, and also sexual attraction. If this is a potential relationship person, then this is someone that you have had a tremendous amount of chemistry with in the past. Now, crowning you is interesting because we have the Knight of Discs. Now, what's interesting about this for me is that it is very similar to your bottom card, which is the Prince of Discs, and I am unsure as to whether or not these male figures represent you as you are, trying to focus on your career, because I do think that you are in the background of this. I do think that you are sort of, I kind of want to say you're moving up in your career and you're trying to focus on that. And I think it's telling you that that is the best thing for you to do in this situation. The Knight of Discs as your best possible outcome is telling me that you need to focus on the practical stuff, that as lofty and wonderful and exciting as this connection is, what is important for you to do is to not get too carried away, I think. And I think the Knight of Discs is telling you to remain grounded, which is more natural for you anyway, I think, as a Capricorn. The best thing for you to do is to move slowly and to continue to focus on practical aspects of your life and continue to treat this as kind of a back burner thing. I think it's also telling you to be patient with this, and I get that also from your bottom cards. You have beneath the Prince of Discs on the bottom, you have the Seven of Discs and the Seven of Wands as well, and a couple cards down you have the Nine of Wands. So all of these indicate to me this idea of needing to save your stamina and be patient through this process, especially since the Knight of Discs is so plodding. The Knight of Discs is known for taking things very slowly and going at his own pace in a very methodical way. And while that can be sort of boring, which is what I kind of sense that you feel with this, how you see the situation card of the Four of Swords here, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for you here. Your immediate future is the Three of Discs. So what's starting to happen is is that you're starting to focus more on work. You're moving out of this focus on relationships and your connection with this guy, and moving into a period of more where your job is going to start taking the focus more. And so I think that's kind of why the Knight of Discs is telling us here to remain practical and focused on the prize, I guess. Focused your on your daily living. The Knight of Discs, as Alistair writes in the Book of Thoth, he tells us that the Knight of Discs is concerned solely with food production, and that bit has always been interesting to me about the Knight of Discs. And I think that that's kind of what it's telling you here is, metaphorically, focus on your food. Focus on, your day-to-day stuff and making sure that you can make ends meet and that you are remaining productive, I think. I think that's important for you here as this situation continues to develop. Now, in your environment, you have the Fool. And the Fool, I don't think that this is saying that, on one hand, I think it's funny because contrasted with the Knight of Discs, the Fool is the total opposite. And so either he or other people involved in this situation are either seeing you as getting a little too carried away, as getting a little overzealous, a little too overexcited about this, and possibly becoming a little risky with it, or just not thinking as clearly about it. The other way of reading that is that, as I said before, this is a situation that has sort of popped up out of nowhere that you didn't really expect. This might be something that has come with surprises that you just didn't necessarily expect. That this might be coming into your life unexpectedly, and I think that's the best way of looking at it. And we'll talk about connections later, but just to finish up all these individual cards, your hopes and fears are represented by the Princess of Wands, and I think that you are really looking for, both in terms of, I think in terms of career and in terms of love, you do want something new, and you do want something fresh. I think that that's important to you right now, and I think you feel like you have all this energy to give, and you have all of this personality to give, and I just think as the Emperor, you feel very secure with yourself in this situation, that, this is definitely not, something, the type of relationship where it's like, you feel desperate to have one. I mean, we've all been there where we just, we feel like we need someone else to feel a little more validated or anything. And I definitely do not see this in this reading at all for you, which is wonderful. I think you just are genuinely excited about what is going on right now, and at the same time you're very okay with being single or whatever. You're very okay with working on just you right now, but at the same time this happens to come along, and it is exciting, because I think it is a little different for you. I do think that it might be territory that is new for you, that is a little fresh, that maybe you haven't explored in a while or something like that. But there's definitely this sense of like a big awakening happening right now, and I think you're really looking to arise to that call. And again, I think that goes back to that message of, that's okay, but remember to remain grounded in reality with it. But, the Princess of Wands, I think it tells me that you are hungry for a new experience of some kind, and for adventure. I always see the Princess of Wands as a kind of adventurer, as that person who's just about to set out on a journey, in the same way that the Fool is, but the Princess of Wands is it's hard to really say what the difference between them is because they are so similar. The Fool has a lot of other connotations and a lot more of a spiritual bent of mind, and the Fool can be a lot more esoteric and surprise oriented, associated with Uranus and all that. But with the Princess of Wands, the Princess of Wands is a little more methodical, I suppose. She plans out her trip a little more. And so either that is a change, just a general change of pace, or possibly a change. As I said before, you might be moving up in career right now. Maybe that the Princess of Wands is speaking to that as well. But I think in general, the Princess of Wands is definitely resonating strongly with lust for me, and I think that you possibly are really missing that zeal that you once had, that was once a part of this situation somehow. And again, for some reason, the hold has been put on that, and it is unclear exactly as to why. Again, I think it's because for whatever reason they have kind of put the brakes on this for some reason, and I kind of get the sense that if you allow it to move slowly, it's going to go in the direction that you want it to go in. Your overall outcome is the Two of Discs, and so this indicates to me that the way this situation is going to turn out, if it continues along in this fashion, I get the sense that there's going to be that this person is kind of going to go back and forth a lot. I don't know that this situation is really that whatever impasse is happening right now, whatever blockages he may be putting up, I don't think it really has a whole lot to do with anything that you've done or ways that you've gone about this. I really think that they might just be kind of a fickle person and kind of unsure, especially if they are a fellow Earth sign. They might be one of those Earth signs that really just don't deal well with emotions and connections and understanding those emotions and explaining those things to people. I've dated Taurians who just have told me flat out that they just don't know how to talk about feelings. And it might be a situation like that here, and I sense that he is going to continue giving and taking for a while, and again, it's going to require a bit of patience on your end, but I don't know that it's going to turn into a real. I don't know that it's going to. Well, it's tricky to tell if this is going to turn into something real for you at this time. It is unclear, to be perfectly honest with you. If this reading is about a particular relationship with a certain man or person, then it seems to want to remain in the physical realm. I get the sense. If it is not about a relationship, and really this is sort of one big metaphorical explanation of your career right now, then possibly what this is saying is that with a lot of hard work and determination, you'll be able to make a little bit more money. That's the other way of looking at this. Yeah. The positive. Just I'm looking at art here and the Emperor, and those two cards get along so well. I almost am hesitant to read art in a real negative light, as far as a blockage of connectivity. But I think it almost reaffirms that idea that, you are very secure in yourself right now, and you feel perhaps like you are enough of a whole person, on your own, and you don't really, maybe you just don't feel like, having someone else in your life is really necessary right now. I mean, that's the other way of looking at this, is that maybe you are the one who is perhaps digging your heels a little bit into this, and perhaps that is because you've got, a lot going on right now, and a lot of things popping up, and you don't really have time to worry about this right now. So that is the other way of looking at this. You know, it's always funny how many different ways you can read these things. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's about all I can get out of this. To be very honest with you, you do have you have quite a lot of fire in here, which is really good, I think. And but your fire is a little straightforward, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. I mean, I suppose you being an earthy, grounded person, uh, for the most part, that would be how you would deal with fire. And I do kind of sense that you are channeling a lot of this fiery energy into your work at this moment. That whatever zeal is represented by lust, it's almost like you're going to start channeling that into work, even though even though you want to sort of branch out from that, possibly with the Princess of Wands. I'm not sure. You have a little bit of Jupiter in here, actually, in this nice kind of triangular shape here. You have Jupiter here, here, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, actually. And so we do have this nice kind of trifecta of Jupiter, which seems positive to me. I'm trying to see how I can weave that into an idea here. Um, I think what all of these things, all the Jupiter cards you have in this reading I do see as connected. I mean, I think that they all, and as they're sort of pointing down to art here, I think they are all kind of connected to art. I think it's telling you that your perspective on this situation, the overall outcome, are directly connected, and that both of those ideas go back to this art problem that we're having here. This either difficulty in combining with other people. I almost sense that is what this is getting at. That that you yourself are just not in a place right now where you want to necessarily deal with someone else in your life. I think that you do really like this person, and you have had a great time with this person, and you like getting to know this person. You have a lot in common, but I just don't know that you feel open for it right now. And so maybe, everything I was saying before about, him kind of being slow with his emotions, and you needing to take it slowly, I almost wonder if you're the one who is taking it slowly, and they're the one who is more enthusiastic about this. In that light, and in your email, I mean, please, by all means, any feedback you can give, or filling in, just because I am curious myself, especially since I read for you fairly regularly. I'm trying to see what else you have here. Yeah, I mean, all of your energy seems very grounded in work right now, because, your Emperor here, too, for your independence, your sense of self, is Aries, ruled by Mars, and your next card is Mars in Capricorn, which is all about work. And so those two are connected as well for me. Um, so your independence is very much grounded in your career right now. Um, let's see. Is there anything else? No, not particularly. Libra. No, I mean, you do have those two Capricorn cards here, and so maybe what this is saying for your overall outcome as well is that your career is going to continue to be busy and is going to continue to take up your time, and that you might not necessarily have time in the future for something like this. The tricky thing here, though, that I'm trying to reconcile with this is that if this is telling me that you are more focused on being independent, how we then reconcile what you want out of this situation, which is the Princess of Wands, or at least that's what I think you want. I don't think that represents a fear you have, though it could. You could be afraid of something new, and maybe that is also partially at the heart of this as well. That by embracing someone new, you would have to open yourself up, and that can be a scary experience. It could be that, but I think as your advice card, the Knight of Discs, getting back to that whole be practical thing and grounded thing. I don't know. I mean, I think that I get the sense that I just get the sense that it's okay for you to focus on your career right now. That is really what you should be focusing on. But I don't know that it's saying necessarily that you can't necessarily work on both at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I almost feel like it's saying that yes, you should be focusing on your career. Yes, that's important, but to satisfy your own inner need for exploration right now, that it might not necessarily be a bad thing to also cultivate this relationship on the side as well, but go about it slowly, to not necessarily let it move too quickly too soon. So that's basically everything I can get out of this. I'm hoping that this is somewhere in the realm of accurate for you, and I of course am deeply sorry if it is not. So please, 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 if you have any questions, or if by all means, as I say to everyone, I am not psychic. I am strictly an intuitive reader, and so there are going to be holes and things of that nature in my interpretation. So please, if you want to fill in any of these details so that it might make a little bit more sense to me, and then maybe I can advise you a little bit better that way, feel free to do so. And if not, if what I've said makes sense, and one of the many things I've said makes sense, then please let me know that as well. All right, I think that's about it. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it was accurate. And as always, I appreciate your business, and I apologize again for the delay. Again, really crazy time for me. But thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck as always. And I hope to hear from you soon. All right, thank you, Faith. Take care. Bye-bye.